I'm alive. Hey guys, welcome back to Critical African Thinkers. This is a place where we examine everything under the microscope of logic to ascertain what is most factual and logically consistent. So, we know that of late or of recent that Trump and JD Vance invited Zelensky to the White House to basically put him through a humiliation ritual. But it turned out that both Trump and JD Vance made a fool of themselves. They make themselves look like asses, right? Because they basically ganged up on Zelensky. And Zelensky was able to hold his own very well. He came out from that interaction looking much more confident, self assured, and he did not capitulate to Trump and JD Vance, right? JD Vance basically became a Karen in that interaction. He was just acting like someone who was unhinged. So we're just going to go through that interaction and, mm, you know, react to it.
What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned.
Nobody is saying you should say terrible things about Russia or Putin. You just have to say things the way they are. Putin invaded Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine. So it's not a function of saying not saying nice things. You're going to be flattering Putin because you want a deal out of him. I thought you were the strong guy. I thought you were the the out of the deal guy. I thought you were the all powerful Trump. I thought you were going to get this deal done in day one. So why do you need to suck up to Putin to get this deal done? Where's the leverage? What leverage do you have? If it's going to be based on Putin's perception of you, Putin's thinking that you are a good or a nice person, then there is no leverage.
Aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred.
But if you are aligned with the interest of the United States, then you wouldn't be doing this because right now the interest of the United States is threatened in Europe, is threatened in many parts of the world because of what you are doing. You're essentially backing Russia up. You're backing the enemies of the US. You're backing the enemies of NATO, which the US is a part of that alliance. So I don't see how you can, at one hand, try to destroy a military alliance that the US is a big part of, and then you say you are for the US. No, Trump is for his ego. He's serving his own ego. He doesn't serve the interests of the US. Everything he's done since he's become president only serves himself, doesn't serve anything that has to do with the US.
He's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I
I
understand.
don't understand what Trump is talking about. So Putin invades Zelensky's country, has killed hundreds of thousands of Zelensky's people, has destroyed his infrastructure, has taken some of his land, and he's not supposed to hate that guy. Come on, get real. I am not even Ukrainian, but I hate Putin for that. Zelensky cannot hate Putin enough. There is literally many reasons there. There's all the reason for Zelensky to hate Putin. This is not even a question that should even come up. So Zelensky is supposed to maintain a neutral stance with someone like Vladimir Putin, who's killed his people, who's invaded his country. Come on.
I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe.
To think that Zelensky has to sit down and take this nonsense just because he needs aid, because his country is being invaded and he doesn't have all the resources and all the material to fight and prosecute this war. He has to go through this humiliation from Trump, who is supposed to be backing him up, who is supposed to be solidly behind him, taking a quote unquote neutral stance, which is essentially a pro-Russian stance. It's weird.
I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So look, For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Yeah, so here jumps in wet wipe JD Vance, trying to, he's trying to prove himself. He's trying to show that he's got something to say. He's essentially been in the background all this while, but this is probably rehearsed, right? He's supposed to jump in at a certain point in time. Now, this is the idea of diplomacy for JD Vance, right? The idea is that America can thump its chest for its allies like Canada and NATO. But then when it comes to Putin, when it comes to its adversaries, you're supposed to be placating. You're supposed to look for nice diplomacy. How much sense does that make? You're saying that Biden's chest thumping didn't get anywhere. He didn't get anywhere, but what you're doing right now is much more difficult to achieve because you are essentially chest thumping for your allies and then just letting your adversary get whatever the hell they want. Putin is getting what he wants. You are being so nice to Putin. You want to put a tariff on China on Canada. You want to put a tariff on goods from Europe and all. So unnecessary. But to Putin, you want to let him have his way. Is this diplomacy? Where did JD Vance learn this kind of stupid diplomacy from? And then Zelensky is going to answer him very well.
Ask you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied it, our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014.
Okay, and we just, give Zelensky the accolades that he's due. That this guy speaks 3 languages, at least 3 that I'm aware of. He speaks Russian, he speaks Ukrainian, he speaks English, and Trump can even barely speak English.
So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I
he killed.
was not here.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You see, he doesn't even know history. He doesn't even know what happened. He doesn't know when Russia first invaded Ukraine. He's thinking it's 2015. You see, you have to be deliberately, how do you call it? You have to want to be ignorant for you to be the president of the United States with all the resources and information available to you to still be ignorant. That has to be a choice. You have to choose to want to be ignorant. He could educate himself about all these things, but nope, he won't.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
Exactly. So JD Vance is talking about diplomacy, that they should take the diplomatic route. And Zelensky is telling you that we've tried diplomacy with this guy. In 2019, we signed a peace agreement, we signed a ceasefire, we signed certain terms that he gave the assurances he wasn't going to attack anymore. And he broke all that. So is that the kind of person you want to reason with? So Zelensky is essentially throwing it back at him. Okay, what exactly do you want me to do? What sort of magical diplomacy do you want me to do at this point in time? What? And you would see how this will throw JD Vance off and he just starts bitching like a Karen. He will switch it up. He starts being outraged, performatively outraged, to just show that he has no response to these very valid points that Zelensky has made. No response. He's going to start acting like a Karen.
Talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President, Mr.
strong-
President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the
Litigate what? Litigate what? You invited him and you invited the press and you. This guy is so dumb.
front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for
Have you
trying to
ever
bring
been-
an end to this
Have you
conflict.
ever been to Ukraine?
So when you're saying he's having manpower issues, that's because Russia is killing his young men. Russia is killing its young men. So, oh God.
That you say what problems we have.
I have been to
Count one.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens.
See Zelensky shaking his head. This guy is a moron. Have you been to Ukraine? This is the president of Ukraine who is right there in Ukraine telling you about the reality of his country, and you're telling him that you have watched and seen videos, and that invalidates the point, the worldview of the president, of the man on the ground. What level of idiocy is this? So you have seen videos, you've watched, you've seen pictures, and that's more valid than what the president of Ukraine, who is on ground, what he's doing, what he's seeing, what he's reporting. There's just so much stupidity in one room at the same point.
Is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems?
You see what he's doing? He's a very stupid debating tactics. Do you disagree you have problems? Of course he has problems. His country is being invaded. Isn't that a problem? So a man that is fighting for the soul of his country is carrying out propaganda. This guy has to either be stupid or he has to be evil for him to even make these sorts of. Why are they taking Russia's side? This is essentially a defense for Russia. What does Putin have on these guys? What does Putin have on the president of the United States for them to be taking Russia's side? It's insane.
Bringing people into your military?
We have
And
problems.
do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of the
will
United
answer.
States of America and attack the
Yeah,
administration
now he's
that is
he's throwing a fit. He's trying to be performatively outraged.
trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't know
God
that.
bless. You
Don't-
will not
you
have
gotta-
war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're
I'm
doing.
not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
This is the problem with Trump. It's like this is not a contest. He's not coming there to have a shouting match with you. He's not coming there to fight with you. He's coming there to seek your help. And and Trump is making it seem as if it's a contest between Ukraine and the US. And later on, Marco Rubio would make a post about Trump defending or standing up for his country. I'm like, what? Are you standing up for your country against Ukraine, against the country that has been invaded? Is that what your strength? Is that what your strength is about? Is that what Trump is Trump cannot stand up. He can't stand up to Putin. He can't stand up to Russia. But he's standing up to Ukraine, who is being invaded. Oh my God.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right
From
about
the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not in a
Mr.
good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was-
have the cards right now. With us, you start
I'm
having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now,
Exactly. Trump thinks this is a game. The life of his people is literally at stake, and you're talking about cards. He's not playing cards. Trump may be playing cards. He might think this all a game to him, but Zelensky is facing a very real existential crisis for his country. He's the only serious person there. The other two are clowns.
you're
I'm very
you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What do you-
III.
what do you think
You're
about-
gambling with
what do you
World
think
War
about-
III. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is very
It's Trump's actions that is essentially gambling with World War III because you're emboldening Russia. You're emboldening now. Europe has to step up. You this should be a wake-up call for the Europeans that they cannot rely on America. They cannot put their military or their security at the hands of America because Trump has just shown that America is not reliable. So, on the long run, I think this is going to be good for the world. This is going to be good for Europe as people divest away from American military infrastructure, as the influence of the US begin to wane. Because Trump is thinking that he's wielding American power. He think what he's doing is building the immune system of the world to live without America. You're cutting your shade and all those things. Good and fine, please. By God, those programs should stop, especially those coming to Africa. Those programs should stop. A lot of people are going to get hurt by those programs stopping. Yeah, but maybe that's the wake up call that Africa and other parts of the world need to get their acts together. But what that also does is that the US will lose its leverage because those little things that you're doing, that's the leverage you essentially have. So if you do this, you you're not going to support Ukraine and you're going to bitch about NATO, probably going to withdraw from NATO. And what leverage do you have? What leverage do you have? That why should anybody listen to America after all of this? If America decides to become a solutionist, why should anybody listen to them? Absolutely no reason.
disrespectful to the country, this country,
I'm
that's
with all
back to you
respect to you.
far more than a lot of people said
Very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
Oh,
entire meeting?
God.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have
today-
you said thank
even
you?
today.
You went to
What kind of stupidity? So Zelensky should come and start groveling at Trump's feet. Thank you for what? He should start groveling at Trump's feet, kissing his feet. Maybe that's what you do to him, but why should Zelensky do that? What has Trump done for Zelensky? Just ask. What has Trump done for him? Trump is trying to take advantage of his vulnerable position, trying to extort him, not even trying to help him. Trump is trying to extort him, and he's supposed to be thankful for that. He's supposed to be grateful for that. If this was Biden, yeah, Zelensky should and should say thank you. Well, why should he say thank you to Trump? Trump hasn't done anything for him. Trump hasn't made any Trump has called him a dictator. Trump has been against him from day one. On what basis should he be thankful? And what is this hero worship? What is this genuflection about? Have you said thank you to him in this meeting? Oh God.
Pennsylvania and campaign for the opposition in October, offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
This guy is just a very big ass licker. So if this thank you is supposed to be for America, then why does it matter that Zelensky campaigned for the opposition? It shouldn't matter. The thank you should go to America. But JD Vance is essentially saying, say thank you to Trump. Say thank you to Trump because you aligned with the opposition. Now the opposition isn't in power, but it was the opposition that helped this guy. So is he going to be thankful to America, or is he going to be thankful to the individuals in power? If he's going to be thankful to the individuals in power, then he has no reason to be thankful to Trump because Trump hasn't done anything for him, and Trump is trying to strong arm him into a very bad deal. So even on the metrics, The JD Vance is just such a ass licker. Even on his own metrics, Zelensky has no reason to be grateful to Trump. He could be grateful to the US because the US has supported his country, but there is really nothing to be grateful about to Trump.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can.
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's in big
Can-
trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning.
No, he doesn't know his country is in trouble because after 3 years of invasion by Russia, he needs Trump to tell him that his country is in trouble.
This.
I,
You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said,
Who is Trump to talk to Zelensky in this manner? The bone spurs Trump, who dodged a military draft, citing bone spurs. Zelensky had the opportunity to flee, to just leave his people, and he would be living somewhere in opulence. But no, this guy decided to stay back. He's not even prosecuting this war from outside the country. He's prosecuting it within his country himself. This guy is a hero. As far as lifetime heroes go, real life heroes go, this guy is a hero.
thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president $350 billion.
You voted
We gave
for
you
your
military equipment.
You
And you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If
West?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have
They invited you to humiliate you, and it's backfiring.
been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of
except
times
that there-
thank you
except
to
that-
American people.
Except that there are disagreements. And
JD Vance cannot lick Trump's ass enough. He cannot.
let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good.
Wrong about what? Wrong about what exactly is Zelensky wrong about? Now, just name one thing that he's wrong about.
For the American people to see what's going on.
I
over
understand,
there.
sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there.
I'm-
Your people are
I can
dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't,
Listen,
don't play.
you're-
And the funny thing is that Zelensky has gone to Europe and all the world leaders, all the European leaders are rallying around him. This is going to have the reverse effect that Trump is going for. Trump is thinking that he's trying to strong arm the world into doing his bidding. No, what he's doing is that he's signaling to the world that the US is not reliable. He's signaling to the world that people should look for alliances outside of the US. People should boycott alliances with the US. Every leader, every other leader in the free world has come out to, even British Prime Minister is saying that they are ready to put boots on the ground in defense of Europe. And this is something that they haven't said in the past. So this is a win for Zelensky. This is a win for Europe, and ultimately a win for the world, because Trump is decimating American power with his stupidity.
running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a
But I
ceasefire.
said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That
It
wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what.
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. The statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump. It's nonsense.
You got to be more thankful.
You gotta
Let
be
me
more
tell you,
thankful.
you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question.
How did the US get it wrong? Really? This guy, your president? Come on.
Mr. Vice President, I'm sorry, here.
It'll be a tough deal to make
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you
but
saying?
what
She's
if
asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden didn't respect.
That's a very stupid answer to a very important question. Given Putin's track record of breaking ceasefires, what's your game plan if Putin decides to break the ceasefire? Are you going to say, well, I achieved the ceasefire, so it doesn't matter what happens after that?
Him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a
You
lot.
can see what Zelensky did. They respect you, but they haven't given an inch. You're essentially being Putin's advocate. You are his lawyer, and they respect you.
Not with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter.
You can just imagine Zelensky thinking in his head, what morons. What morons. I can imagine him thinking that. Now, these guys are idiots.
Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy.
A tough guy.
I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you either...
You see the hubris of the man who thinks that nobody can be something without him, without them. And this is exactly why the US is going to lose relevance. Pride, they say, goeth before a downfall. It's just what it is.
They're going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Yeah, they'll fight it out without you. Without you, the world is not going to end if you don't support Ukraine. The world is not going to end. Ukraine is not going to cease existing if the US doesn't support Ukraine. I can say that for a fact.
But you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful.
Do you know how evil it is to try to extort someone at their most vulnerable moment and point? And this is what Trump is doing with Zelensky. You're trying to extort this guy because he's in dire straits. And this just puts to bed the myth of the negotiator, the master negotiator. He couldn't get a deal out of Zelensky in this. The mineral deal didn't go through. And it just showed that Trump is not a master. He is a bully who tries to extort weak people, who tries to extort. He can only successfully negotiate with people who have no cards, people who are vulnerable. There's no brilliance, there's no tactics to what he's doing. There's nothing smart about what he's doing. He's just trying to bully Zelensky. He's trying to be a mob boss, and he couldn't even be a mob boss, despite having the wet wipes JD Vance right there with him. He couldn't be a mob boss. There is nothing, there's no strategy, no depth behind what he's saying or what he's proposing. Nothing. It's just so shallow.
And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television. I will say that.
Yeah. Imagine what he's thinking. He's still in his entertainment mindset. While people are dying, he thinks what's most important is to give people a show.
All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you. We'll see. I don't know.
All right, guys, come on. Wait, hey, come on. Guys, come on.
Yeah, and then JD Vance pats him like a dog. Like, yeah, you did well. You did well. Was this a debate? Was this a debate against Zelensky? You're patting him that he did well. What did you achieve with this interaction? Aside from trying to humiliate a man who is fighting for his country, and then you couldn't even. Anyway, let me look at the chat. The chat is burning, burning, burning. Um, Love me says you get fewer likes since you became less right wing. Don't stop being honest. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't do this for the likes. I don't do this for the views. I get fewer. In fact, my channel has been demonetized for more than a year now, but it doesn't bother me because I'm more interested in being honest and true to myself than in grifting and saying something that I don't really believe just because I want more views or more likes. So it doesn't matter if it's one person that comes and watches, it's two people, it's good, it's all good and fine. Stanley, how you doing? Stanley says critical thinking has two wings. So maybe I can just invite Stanley or anyone that wants to talk for 10 minutes and let me put the link. Yep. If you want to come in. So Stanley says war, invasion, and defense seems more accurate. Have to be thankful. Trump is treating Zelensky like he's black, like he's blacks. Trump was forced to give javelins. Why did Zelensky not laugh? Yeah, I'm seriously. I would have laughed. I would have because it's a clown show. It was just a clown show that Trump was having there, right? Um, extort is laughable, but it's not laughable. It's exactly what Trump was trying to do. Trump was trying to extort him. Trump was saying he should pay with minerals, the things that has been given to him, the aid that has been given to him prior, that he should pay with minerals. You're essentially trying to make tell Ukraine to give its minerals. Lead, hello, lead. How you doing?
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm good. So,
Oh, okay, all right.
what do you think?
So just a little pushback on your commentary, your analysis. Look, there's no heroes here, right? Um, they're going in a different direction now. The American people voted for Trump because they know that he's not a traditional politician, and they want something
What's your
different, right? So that's why they voted for him. They know him as a businessman. So he is going at it business-like. We, meaning the administrator before him, which represent America, we gave X amount of monies. It didn't work out. You're losing the war. Now, for all that money we gave you, we want something back. It's rare minerals. Zelensky is not a hero. Now, there's money missing. That's unaccounted for. I think over 100 billion. That's number one. But I'll even go even further back than that. When this war started, the Ukrainians were telling black people, Africans, that they couldn't leave. They said our people got to leave first. So what we're talking about is a racist regime, a Nazi regime. The Nazis is fighting those people. What's going on? And Stanley could chime in. He probably disagrees with me, but I know he would agree with this. What's going on with between Russia and Ukrainians is an ethnic age-old battle. We're talking about when Russia itself was created with the Rus and the Vikings going back or during those times. These ethnic groups, Caucasian ethnic groups, have been warring with each other since before that. So this little thing that they going on is centuries old. But as far as from the standpoint of the American people, we have a serious problem, and that is the Republican and the Democratic Party. And unfortunately, we latch on to these two parties like sports teams. And what happens is we do ourselves a disservice. So in 2025, in a modern era, we have to stop looking at these political parties as teams that we root for, like the Yankees and the Mets. No, we have to look at these political parties for what they are. They're going to serve their own self interest. So we have to ride that wave. Either we ride the wave or we get crushed. There is no middle ground because that is the tangible reality. So I'm going to land the plane and say I disagree with your analysis because, as I have stated before, it is left leaning. And when your analysis is left leaning, that means no matter what is coming from the right, be it truthful or not, you will not accept it.
Okay, good submission, lead. First of all, Stanley, I'll give you a chance to speak. Let me just respond to a few things. I don't know where you get the idea that my analysis is left leaning, but even if it were, being left leaning alone, it's not enough reason for it to be wrong, right? There are some things that the right gets right. So that's not an argument that's valid. But I just want to ask you this question. And the other point you made about, before I ask you the question, the other point you made about Ukraine being racist and the rest, yeah, it's a side point. See, I don't have to support Ukraine because they treat black people right. They're it's that's not the level of analysis I'm looking at. The level of analysis I'm looking at is in this conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Who is the party at fault here? Just like people would say, "Oh, you're supporting the Palestinians," when the Palestinians they think of Africans as this and that. I said that's irrelevant in this context between these two parties, between Israel. So if I'm only advocating for the rights of people who treat me right, then I'm not different from the bad guy. I'm no different from the bad guy. I'm a Christian, and the Bible tells me that I have to advocate for the rights of everyone. If you love only those who love you, even the bad person loves people who love them. So, but the question I want to ask you is, do you think that everything should be run like a business? Do you think that's the most valid way of looking at the world? There's a validity in, running a business like a business, but do you think that everything should be run like a business?
No, so before I answer your question, well, let me answer your question and I'll go back to your statement. I don't think everything uh, should be run as a business because the business template might not be the right format for everything. Everything is extremely broad. But I will say that you can use certain things within the business template. If you look at a book like The Art of War, if you go to Barnes and Nobles to get The Art of War, it's in the business section. So I bring that up to say this: that there's different methodologies that can seem unorthodox, but can be used in a business setting. Now, as far as the United States, many things can be used as a business because it actually operates as such in different modalities. It actually runs like that. The buying and selling of weapons, negotiation, etc., etc. So yes, some things can, but not everything. To answer your question, so the answer is no. But to go back to what you were saying before, I'm glad that you made your statement about you being a Christian because now it brings clarity. Because I'm not a Christian. And to me, Christianity is irrational because I'm not going to love everyone. That's absurd. Now, as far as I speak for myself. If you're a racist, I have nothing to do with you because the idea of racism is wrong. So if you're wrong on that, and if you are tainted with racism, what else are you tainted with? I don't know too many racists who have legitimate in anything. I'm sorry. So we cannot ignore that. And that's the problem with Christianity. It It closes our eyes to tangible things in current reality for some type of mysticism. And that's a problem with black people, period. Whether it's Islam, Christianity, or even African spirituality or voodoo, whatever. We are too foregone in mysticism and not tangible things. And as you can see right now, in my opinion, it is clouding your analysis.
All right. I'll respond to that, but Stanley has to speak first. Stanley, please go ahead.
I'm glad you brought up Christianity. Trump's a Christian, right?
He claims to be.
This is the thing. Your analysis is as clouded as any Christian's lead. Okay, we need to meet people where they are, to use a phrase. Trump was undignified, unpresidential. All this stuff should have been done like out of the camera's purview. I think what Trump has accomplished is he's galvanized Europe. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
They probably should have been, at the tip of the spear in defending Ukraine. For the rest of it, I read something recently, basically saying diplomacy, foreign relations, all that stuff is more relationship than transactional.
Mhm.
And I agree with that. So
Yeah.
Trump running the country like a business, he's doomed to fail.
Yeah. So thank you, Stanley, for that. Let me go back to Leeds. And so Leeds, you said that you don't do business with people who are racists. So what do you say about the racism in the Republican
No,
Party? What do you say about?
that wasn't my specific words, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was paraphrasing. Right? You essentially don't like racist people. But if you look at Trump, if you look at the people that are around Trump, if you look at the Republican Party itself, you can hardly miss the racism. So how do you reconcile that with your? I don't know whether you support Trump, but at least I want to assume that you do support him. How do you reconcile that?
You assume incorrect. I'm an independent. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him. Trump is an stone cold racist. So let me give you my worldview so we could be clear. Republicans are overt, Democrats are covert. Both parties are racist. This is just my thinking. Both parties are racist. So now, when it comes to voting for any statorial election or for the presidency, the way I vote is according to policy and how I feel policy will have an effect on me and my family. That's how I vote. I don't like. I brought up the examples because of sports teams, because in the current era, that's exactly what Republican Democrats are. And I see what I don't understand is um, uh, being on one side and not being honest about the truth of the other side. So, for example, I'm just using this as an example. A person could be such a stone cold Republican that they'll see something that is objectively truthful that a Democrat is saying, but because a Democrat say it, they will disavow it, and vice versa. That is not intelligent to me. You understand? So me being a Black American who I consider myself a African of the diaspora, I have to. We're 15% in America. That tells me that just about everything here has trickled down from white people. For example, we have gun ownership. When they came up with that in the Constitution, that wasn't for black people at all. But today, in the modern era, in the current era, black people, citizens can take part in that. You see? So just like that, everything in this Anglicized country trickles down to black people. So I'm not, I know that he is, but you know what? I'd rather the racist I can see in front of me than the racist that smiles and acts like my friend. New York is a blue state. It's a liberal state. You have racist doctors. If you Google, there was a racist doctor in the Bronx. This man is treating people. He got fired. It was in the newspaper. But you wouldn't know because he's not overt. He's not like the Republicans. He's not like Trump. Yes, I like. You know why I like Trump? Because he overspeaks, and when he overspeaks, you get a gleam of truth. It's like a door being cracked open into a secret room. So I'd rather the overt racist than the covert racist because the covert racist you cannot tell, right? So that's just my worldview. That's how I view it. But make no mistake about it. I am not a Republican. I am not a conservative. As
Mm.
black people, whether in America or globally, we have to, in a way, be our own party. You know who I learned this from, my friend? From observing Asians in New York City. Asian community in New York City, they're not Republican or Democrat, but they are thriving and succeeding in their own communities in an American country, an English speaking country, you go to wherever they are, you cannot read the signs because they own everything. They're in control of everything from the stores to the real estate in their community. And you never see them worrying about Republican or Democrat. As a matter of fact, I believe they're one of the uh, lowest voter groups among ethnic groups in America, but yet they're still thriving and succeeding. So we just have to be progressive in our thinking and progressive in the way we pontificate and contemplate our moves. Sorry for being long winded.
Okay. Sorry, Stanley. Just give me a minute. I will ask you a question about Trump running the country like a business. But before that, I think your worldview is inconsistent, right? Because when I mentioned Zelensky and Ukraine, you said for the fact that racism at all exists. This is me paraphrasing my understanding of what you said. The fact that racism exists within Ukraine itself, that invalidates any other thing that Ukraine has to offer. And then I ask, and then you say the reason you like Trump is because of such and such. But if you were to go by your own metric, the racism, Trump's racism, and the racism in the Republican Party should invalidate whatever good thing Trump has to offer. It should be a non-starter for you to begin with because racism is such a big issue or is such a big deal. Now, the second question, the other question I want to ask you is, you said that there are certain aspects of business as good, business principles as good for running things. So I want to ask you, do you think that the best way to run a country is to run it as a business? And what are those business ethics? What are those business things that Trump is bringing to the presidency that's making it much more substantive?
Well, if we're being honest, America has been ran like a business way before Trump. America has been ran like a business for decades now, and a lot of the people who were at the helm of that business were Democrats, whether it's Clinton, Obama, right? Uh, the duality of American political party forges one line the further down the line you get, especially when it comes to foreign policy. Not all things, some things. So that's number one. Now, as far as disavowing uh, Trump, I disavowed him because I did not vote for him. I didn't vote for him. I didn't think, you know why I didn't vote for him? Because I don't believe he's the best person for the job. That's why I didn't vote for him. They both are invalidated for me. And I show that by my action, by not voting for him. So when I say I like, don't get too hung up on the word like. I'm just talking about the fact that he talks out of turn. Most people don't say the thing that's on their mind. They keep it in secret. But I like about him that he speaks out of turn. You understand? He says things out in the open that he should not say. And when he does that, that's why I like it because I'm able to learn more things and things are not kept secret. Now, I do believe that he does that because he's not intelligent. But I don't care if he does it if he's not intelligent. I care that he does it and I get to learn things. because he speaks out of turn. What people don't know about Trump, and I said this to Stanley on another channel, is that he is, and I'm not trying to be funny here, he's like a special needs kind of person. He's like autistic. And, on the autism scale, there are different spectrums. Maybe he's on the lower end, but he's there. And that's clear. So make no mistake about it. I'm not a fan of him at all. But this is the thing, is either one or the other. And if I
Okay.
and that's why I gave you my view, my worldview is either one or the other. Both are racist. So do you want the? Let me ask you. You're asking me questions. Who would you rather pick? A racist person that you know is racist, or a racist person that you don't know is racist and you think is not racist? That's my
Well,
question.
if I don't know he's racist, then obviously I don't know he's racist. Why would I pick the person that is obviously racist?
So exactly. So
And
that means
that
that
kind of
can never
flows
be a good
into my
thing.
point.
That could never be a good thing. Exactly. That can
Yeah.
never be a good thing.
Let
Well,
me let me just make a
yeah,
quick
Stanley,
I'm
point.
finish.
sorry. Go ahead, Stanley. Go ahead, Stanley.
No, 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 it's all right. Um, let's substitute stupid for racist. America knowingly elected a stupid person to be president. And I hear so many times on that certain other channel, but he gets things done. He's doing what I like. Bottom line is we knowingly elected a truly, I agree with your assessment of Trump. He gets things done. Um, there are probably people who would be better suited and less mouthy and more thoughtful. We elected a stupid person. Um, so all I'm saying is he acted stupid on in front of cameras. Okay, I tend to disagree that look, Ukraine was invaded. They didn't start the war. And that's really the only salient fact.
Exactly.
I mean, there's more context to it than that, Stanley.
No, I don't
They
think,
might have.
actually, I don't think there's more context. Who crossed the border?
What it,
Who
didn't there
invaded?
weren't agreements
Who
broken?
invaded? Who invaded whom? Can you answer that question?
Russia invaded Ukraine.
And that's all
And,
I need to know.
Yep.
okay, I mean
Ukraine.
that's all you need to know. But I
That's
mean that's
all
so
I need to know.
why.
That
So my
please.
question to you is why did that happen?
That's the only question that
Probably
is
because of,
relevant.
you know what? Did Russia have to invade?
No, that's false.
Did Russia have to invade, lead?
That's not for me to say. I wouldn't know that.
Okay, no, 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 no. Just based off of what you know. Just I know, none of us on this panel know the nuts and bolts, but on the surface, Russia did not have to invade.
I don't think that's for us to say. We're not Russian nationals. They
I
obviously
think it's
felt
for
threatened
me
because
as
of
a
some type of
person to,
agreement that
it is
wasn't
for me
an
to have
agreement
an
that was
opinion,
broken.
lead. It's my opinion, only my opinion. Maybe you can't figure out how to answer this question. Russia did not have to invade, in my opinion. They are at fault.
No,
We
it's not
Trump
that
needs
I
to
know how to
Trump.
answer. Is that the answer you don't like my answer?
Oh no, no, I don't care about your answer. It won't change my opinion. Russia did not have to
Exactly.
invade, and Trump needs to stop acting like Ukraine is at fault.
Exactly. See, for whatever
Ukraine,
reason,
Ukraine, they're not innocent in this though. They're innocent in
lead.
this, and the fact
Let me
that
just
we're acting. Go ahead, sir.
say this. For whatever reason Russia invaded is invalid because Ukraine did not invade Russia. Let's say, for example, there was an agreement years ago for Ukraine not to join NATO. Ukraine is an independent country, for Christ's sake. Why should another country get to determine the foreign policy of a sovereign nation. It's just like your neighbor determining what you can do in your own house, who you can let into your own house. Would you agree to that kind of thing? Will you agree that your neighbor will tell you that I don't want other black people coming into your house. The moment I see another black person coming to your house, we're going to have serious problems. That's exactly what Russia was trying to do with Ukraine. As in the US broken some
What
agreements, why didn't Russia invade the US? Russia invaded Ukraine because it thought it could win, because it thought it could invade Ukraine. The people that broke that so-called agreement wasn't only Ukraine that broke that so-called agreement. All the NATO powers essentially broke the agreement. I don't see Russia invading Germany. I don't see Russia invading Britain or France.
Well, even
Why
better,
Ukraine?
Russia. I want to see Russia invade Finland, who literally joined NATO in the middle of the
Exactly.
war. Where is
Exactly.
Russia going to invade Finland?
I think we're arguing, well, I think we're debating points that
Oh, I'm not
we
debating.
have no valid we have no
I'm
valid
not
argument to make
debating. I'm
because
literally
you're not a
pointing
Russian
out.
national. I'm not a Russian national, and that's why if you guys remember, one of the first things I said, regardless to whatever current name these countries go by, whether Russia, Ukraine, Soviet Union, etc., these ethnic groups have been warring with each other for centuries, right? So I'm giving you my worldview on this topic as a
Understood.
black as a black man in America. These
Well,
people have
let
been
me
going with each
tell
other.
you.
Let me just finish. Let me just finish. Let
All
me
right,
just. I'm gonna
all
try to be
right,
quick. I'm gonna
all
try to
right.
be. I'm gonna try to be very quick. These groups have been warring with each other for years. So for me, that's not my concern. What personal beefs they go to? Because if I'm being very honest, it has no effect on me specifically. But when I saw number one, that there's Nazis within their ranks. That's a fact, fighting on the front line. And then when I saw how they treated black people, African people, that let
Oh
me
yeah,
know,
I remember that.
that let me know that I don't really care whatever they got going on. If they are racist like that, then something else is illegitimate. There's no such thing as I'm specifically racism. Specifically, there's no such thing as I'm a racist and I hate black people, but I'm righteous on this cause.
I think
If a
Well,
Russia
pedophile,
let
Russia is
let me
if a pedophile
return.
gets murdered, if a pedophile gets
Okay,
murdered in jail,
you are going
I'm giving
all
you
over the place.
no, I'm not. I'm not. It's relevant. I'm gonna give you this,
No,
and I'm gonna land my plane. This is
all right.
this is an analogy. I just hear my analogy, and you'll see how it correlates, and then I'm gonna land my plane. If a pedophile who is convicted of child molestation goes to jail and is murdered, and then someone says, you know what? He was a citizen. He still had rights. Guess what? I don't care. So same way,
Oh,
I don't care what stance that. So you trying to tell me, oh, Russia, which mind you, ethnically, some of these people are the same people. They're the same people, back and forth,
okay.
back and forth. It's
Can I
like
just make
Nigeria
a
and
quick
Niger.
point?
You understand? Go ahead. I'll land my plane. Go ahead.
Um, Let me make a quick point. You're worried about Nazis in Ukraine. How about worried about the Nazis in Trump's
Nazis in the
administration?
White House
Who
currently.
said I
You
wasn't?
know,
Like, hey,
But
hey,
who
I
said I
want to
wasn't?
know. Hold on. Let me land my plane. I want to know in that crowd who returned Steve Bannon's, Steve Bannon's Nazi salute or Elon's. We got Nazi salutes in American
so does that mean the US should be
the
destroyed?
Nazis in Ukraine are not our problem. It's the
Does,
Nazis running the government right now.
does
Okay, so
that
we moving
mean
the boat, but we're
No,
talking
no, no.
about one thing.
I'm
You're moving the
half
goalposts.
joking. I'm half joking, Lee. However, it's not troubling to you.
Of course it is. And if you know me and the conversations that we have, then
Oh,
you know
I
it is.
know you,
We're
Lee.
having,
That's
but
why,
we're having a specific conversation. Yeah,
and
if you
that's
want to move
why
the
I'm not
goalposts, that's
going
fine.
to go too far with this. But the government that Trump is running with his two Nazi saluters do affect your family.
Absolutely, it does. But you know
that
what? The Nazis that just got out affected my family too. And what makes this worse is because what you think they're not as good because they don't salute in public. Look at
So
Biden. Look what he did with his
choose
son.
your own
Like what?
Nazi?
That's not what
All
I
right.
said.
All
That's
right.
I'm
not what I said.
joking, man. Come on.
Okay, guys. Okay, guys. So I have to end the
I'm
stream
not
now
gonna
because
fuss with Lee. He's a
I
bud.
don't
He's
want
a friend.
I don't want to go more than this. But I'm having another one tomorrow. Lee, there's a very important question I think you didn't answer. You didn't answer how productive it would be to run the US as a business and what business strategies Trump is bringing to running the US. So I'd really, really love you to come around tomorrow to answer that question. You could do more research on it, why you think it's more productive for Trump to run the US
You
as a
go.
business.
The,
Yeah.
the,
So,
the real quick before you go, what he's doing right now with far as trying to get rare earth. I think that's smart. If you give some people money and you want something in return, what you gave them the money for, it didn't work out. So you're saying, okay, what can we get so you don't lose on your end? And there's money missing. That's a good business strategy right there. Just objectively looking. So
Okay, let me respond to that. The
Stanley,
government.
30 seconds, 30 seconds, quick.
I'm sorry.
No, I said 30 seconds to respond so that
30
you
seconds.
guys.
The government is not a for-profit. The voters are not shareholders. The government should not be run like a business.
All right. So thank you very much, Stanley and Lead. Tomorrow, let's hash it out again. So I'll see you guys in the next live stream. It's bye for now.
Good night, guys.
Take it easy.